Hello and welcome back to the Toga 2020 live stream. Words brain. I'm not doing this again yet. Vacations are bad for me, and I'm never taking one again.
Until next time.
So we're talking about TikTok news. I'm just going to from now on treat like going on vacation as just like a work trip. Like that's just going to be a week that's extra difficult, and I need to be even more cognitively present and on my game. Vacation will be the chunks of time when the only thing I'm doing is my job.
That sounds so built into the capitalist hellscape, I can't even.
So tonight we're talking about some more TikTok news. We've got a couple things to talk about. Not much in the actual news that's like about what TikTok is doing. But we do have one big new mechanic on TikTok that they just started putting on like a third of users' accounts and didn't tell anyone what it does. It's called reposting or recommending, depending on
unknown factors.
Depending on which random pile your account happened to end up in.
Yeah.
Hey,
there's
Ginger.
no rhyme or reason.
Hi.
Hello.
It seems to me like more people have repost than recommend, but I also didn't know that there was a recommend option. So when I was doing my research, I asked people if they had recommend, or I asked people if they had repost, and I have no idea. Like, I know about 4% of the people who responded told me that they have recommend rather than repost. I don't know how many of the people who said that they don't have it have recommend and just thought, well, I don't have the thing you're looking for, or assumed that recommend meant the same thing as repost and just said, yeah, I have that.
Because those are definitely two different things.
Right, but both could have been happening at any number. So it might be a 50-50 rollout, or it might be a tiny minority of people have recommend.
So I'm assuming, and again, speaking out of my butt, so like I'm assuming that like recommend would be essentially the same thing as just sharing it with someone.
Right? So what the feature does, no matter whether you have recommend or repost, is it makes that video more likely to show up on the For You pages of your mutuals. And when you see them when your mutuals see them, they will see a note that says that you reposted it. And if you leave a comment with your repost, your mutuals will see that comment, and only your mutuals can see that comment.
Interesting.
So it's basically like if you have your DM set to mutuals only, it's like what it would be like if you just like went and just checked every single person in your mutuals and sent them a thing, except also your mutuals don't check their messages very often, so most of them won't see it.
It's like, I feel I'm not saying I feel personally attacked by this feature, but like this feature was made for me because there are so many times that I send stuff to at least 20 people. So I'm sitting here going down my list, sending the DM at least twice.
Yeah, I mean, I think of it as basically being like, I feel like what they've done with this feature is tried to come up with a way to take the thing people want to be doing when they hit share copy link in order to boost a video and make it like actually contain a mechanic. Because they've changed the way link sharing works so that hitting share copy link doesn't actually count as a share until somebody uses that link to navigate to the video. But reposting something counts as a share because other people will see it just because of the way the repost function works. So that adds to the video's analytics. Yeah.
I guess for me, that's kind of like, it's a feature I will likely never use because I have mutuals that I'm mutuals for like very different reasons, right? And like the content that I would share with some of them does not cross over to the other part of them.
Mhm.
Like, I wouldn't be sharing what I share with, like, my core group with my record collector group, because it just wouldn't make sense. So, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it.
But I do think that, like, if you repost a video, that doesn't guarantee it shows up on your mutuals pages. I do think, like, if you repost something and it was, like, say, 30% likely to show up in a mutuals feed, maybe it bumps up to 40 or 50. If it was 1% likely, I don't think it bumps it up to the same 40 or 50.
Gotcha. I'm wondering how that's going to affect, like, overall For You page exposure for the video that gets shared.
I'm
Like,
definitely seeing more videos that are recommended by my mutuals.
okay. I'm just wondering if, like, so, like, if you recommend and then say 10 of your mutuals see it, 6 of them like it,
Mm-hmm.
is that going to give it a boost on the For You page in general, is what I'm wondering. Like, is it going to count towards those analytics?
I would think that it would. I mean, either A, the number of shares directly plays into analytics, and that is something that gets you For You page boost, or B, it's a way to get more people into the sample size of people who would vote, like who would respond positively to this video, who would be more predisposed to enjoy the video because they're hand selected by another person who knows them, as opposed to being like a scattershot of random strangers, which would tend towards increasing the performance of that video within that subset of people.
Because I'm wondering if that can be utilized to help combat when, like, an educational video, for instance, appears to be suppressed. And then if you have a group of people who go through and share it, or whatever the word is, repost, whatever, and then all of a sudden it's getting more exposure in groups where it would likely perform well, if that could potentially fight back against poor showing.
I think that that's absolutely something that could happen. I do also want to say, I think probably 9 times out of 10 when people think that an educational video is being suppressed, it's actually just that the overwhelming majority of people on the app don't like being told things they don't already believe. And the videos are performing badly organically because they contain information people don't want to hear.
So, no, I totally agree with you there. I'm thinking of it more in terms of, like, so we've got confirmation that certain words for specifically Holocaust education will never make it to the For You page. So I'm wondering if this is a way that can be circumvented?
Maybe, but you can only repost something if it turns up on your For You page organically.
Okay. Which which to me says that they're trying to limit it from being something that you can use as a tool.
I think it's designed to. I think the reason they have that limitation is so that you can't brigade a post with reposts.
Gotcha. Okay.
So yeah, I made a video asking people to interact with my post if they have the feature and tell me how they were able to interact. From the results I got, about 2/3 of people don't have it. About 1/3 of people do have it. There are a handful of people who are absolutely convinced that everybody's lying about having it, and that actually we've all just friended accounts that have the icon and have named themselves repost to put them at the beginning of our friends list so that it looks like the feature exists, which is going to be real embarrassing for them when they get the feature.
The things people will believe baffles me.
But so that is what I have on the repost feature. Is there anything else on that? Oh, another thing is there is no demographic quality that correlates to whether you got the repost feature. It's not rolling out by device type. It's not rolling out by operating system. It's not rolling out by how much you use the app. It's not rolling out by where you are geographically. None of that. It's not like, it is fully random as far as we can tell.
Doesn't seem to be tied too much to like follower count or anything like that either. But I haven't seen
loads of
any,
people
like,
have commented
accounts
saying, I have this and I don't understand why, because I have no mutuals. And I think like a lot of it is people with accounts with no followers because they don't make content.
Right.
Okay.
Well, I mean, the bots are always there for us.
Yo, the bots have been
they've been really exciting the past month.
You guys want to talk a bit about the bots? Because I haven't really been getting hit with that, but I've heard a lot of people talking about it.
So I have had like 30 sexual hookup bots show up.
So, well, this happened last year as well. It's that every year around New Year's, there is an influx of bots. You can tell because it's usually a generic picture of either a pretty girl or a generic picture of some dude. And it's always from a downward angle. And then a bunch of letters and numbers that make no sense, right? And like, they don't like anything. They just follow you. So you're not sure where they came from. They're not interacting with your content. And the newest thing is like, I'll have a comment that I'll have left on someone's thing. And all of a sudden,
from like months ago,
30 bots have liked it. And I'm sitting here like, this is the most annoying thing that could possibly happen. Like, it's already annoying that I get notified every time someone likes my comment. And now I'm getting bots. So it's not even people I care about.
Yep. I have had exactly one bot that seems to have, and I don't know which friend of mine, because they seem to have found one person in the MTG community that I have a mutual with, and just gone down and followed all of our accounts. Because like I was sitting here watching, going down this person, spying on them because everything was public. And when I started looking, they were another one of those sexual hookup usernames. And then I'm going down it and I'm like, okay, I don't know who any of these people are. And then it was like, one of my mutuals, boom, 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 me, a bunch more of my mutuals, and then
which
back
means
to just random people.
Which is another way to tell it's a bot, because it's working from a script. Like, it's absolutely working from a script, which is why it's pulling you and then everybody you know.
Yep. And it's just like, it's so weird. Well, I do also know this has been going on for eternity. Like, I used to deal with this with all this other stuff that I mod for on the internet, and it's the end of the year push. Yes. So we're going to be seeing less of it shortly.
Well, what I will say is TikTok, in terms of TikTok and like what's important. So like, while the bots have been out of control the last 2 weeks, my guess is by the end of the month, do not freak out if you got a bunch of bots following you and then all of a sudden your following count drops.
Yes.
Because TikTok is purging bots. That's what it does.
Always.
So, like, I will say that. So if you see, like, a sudden dip and all of a sudden you're missing 10 followers or 100 or 1,000 or whatever, don't worry. It's not people running away from your page. It's bots. We went through it last year. I'm sure we'll go through it next year.
Oh, absolutely.
All right. The next thing on our list, I can't remember if we talked about this last week or 2 weeks ago.
Michael's not here to tell us.
Some period of time ago. But TikTok tried to make a desktop platform for streaming. They released it on a website on like a page on their website. And then like 3 hours later, they stopped it being downloadable. And then they pulled the page from the internet and now they're just like sort of radio silent about it. And yeah, this is what the copyright thing was about, because the reason that they pulled it was because it was based on OBS. Like, it used OBS, Open Broadcasting Studio, as the like mechanical basis for their software. And OBS is released under a copyleft license, which requires that the code for any derivative project be made open source. And so rather than just release the code for their system, TikTok decided that they're not doing it, apparently.
Classic TikTok.
You know what? Good.
Yeah. Remember how like a year ago they partnered with StreamYard or Streamlabs to make it so that you could live stream from the computer?
Yeah.
And then they found out that they were gonna have to give people their stream keys, and so they just didn't do it.
Yeah. So like on the one hand, platforms need to stop trying to be other platforms, right? Like, there's such an oversaturation. Let Twitch corner its market. Worry about yourself. Stop trying to be something you're not. On the other hand, it is so incredibly funny to me that they are this worried about having to open up about any of their code. Because to me, that says they know it's shit. And they don't want to have to deal with the blowback when people who know what they're doing take a look at it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that. I think they just don't like not having control over anything, because
They
they also
everything as it is.
they also changed the way that streaming works on the platforms so that Lula would break. So Lula can't connect to TikTok anymore. And that was something you didn't need a stream key for, and you didn't need to be able to look at any of TikTok's code. You just needed to use Lula, and you could stream from your desktop. And they didn't want people doing that because they don't like not being in complete control over your streaming abilities.
So like, I'm going to be honest. I have not gone live in probably a year because it's just not worth it for me. Like, my follower count isn't high enough. And the people who engage with me on there, I have like 2 people who show up consistently, and I would rather just talk to them offline, like, to be perfectly frank. But like, I have never enjoyed the interface and the user experience for TikTok's streaming.
Oh yeah, no, it's
like, it's trash.
Mm-hmm.
And it just seems so stupid to me that they would like refuse to make improvements or make accessibility easier because they don't want control over it, but they're also not willing to like build it out themselves.
Yeah, the only time I started enjoying going live is, and I don't even ever go live on my own page. I always hop into somebody else's live, especially now that you can have up to 3 additional guests join. Like, that's fantastic. I hop in there like all the time. But every time I've tried going live on my own, I'm just like, this is awful. Goodbye. Like, I'm stuck with my thoughts like 24/7. I'm not going to sit here and hop onto a live. I'm stuck with my thoughts a little bit more as I have 2 or 3 people hop in and be like, oh, wow, you went live? That's a surprise. I'm like, yep, bye. They're gone.
Nice to see you. Bye-bye. There are some very simple things that they could do to make their lives just a better experience overall for the users, for the watchers, everybody. Yep. And they're not hard things to do, and they're things that every other streaming platform has figured out.
Yeah. It's called a stream key.
Exactly. And like, I feel like it's stupid for them, right? Because you give those things to the creators, the chances of viewers having a better experience goes up. The chances of you getting more tips goes up, or more, gifts, whatever the fuck they're calling them these days. And then they get their profit because they're
tips and gifts both exist.
What's that?
Tips and gifts both exist. TikTok does not profit from tips.
Oh. That's nice of them.
I think I think that was one of the rare situations where they looked around at the world and saw how this goes every single time, because every company that takes a cut of their employees' tips, that goes badly for them.
Oh yeah. But even still, like, the chances of people gifting goes up.
They tried, and then they got sued. They were gonna get sued about it because they ripped off OBS, and it's illegal to do that without releasing your source code.
Yeah. So TikTok as a company makes plenty of money, and they definitely make enough money that they could do it themselves without using OBS and build something from the ground up should they really want to. But as we know, TikTok does not like to actually put in that kind of effort because they won't even improve on the broken things in their base product.
Well, I mean, why improve on things that already exist when you can just throw out random features that absolutely nobody asked for?
Right? It's like me when I get a tattoo. Why fix the tattoos on my legs that desperately need a touch-up when I could get something new on a piece of skin that hasn't been?
I also want to shout out Madeline Pomelamuskash on TikTok, who is the user who's been reporting on TikTok and copyleft with regard to the new streaming platform.
Nice.
I think she's why all of us know anything about this. I'm dropping her in chat right now. There are a bunch of TikToks on her account going over like the unfolding of events in this situation in a lot more detail than we're gonna.
Yeah. Also, excellent username.
Right?
Yeah. So it's 20 minutes into the stream, and I have run out of things on my list of prepared stuff.
Do I need to break out morbid curiosity? It's sitting right here.
I'm down.
You know, we can always talk about dead stuff. There's always things to do with dead stuff. All right. Although I'm not sure how many we've got left.
Yeah, this is also that time of year too, where it's like everybody's on vacation, so nothing really is happening. At least nothing production-wise for businesses. Plenty of drama.
There's
I'm sitting here watching my FYP blow up with like all these random dramas that like I was just like, oh my goodness.
Okay, cool. I found someone that we definitely haven't done. All right, so have you ever dreamed about someone who died?
Does my cat count?
I mean, I would argue yes, but I'm a crazy cat lady.
I'm gonna go with a strong probably.
A strong probably. I'm trying to think. I have had dreams right before people have died with them in it, which is always like a freaks me out thing because I've probably been like thinking about them and they weren't doing well. Because like that happened with my grandfather when I was younger, and stuff like that. But I don't know that I've ever had like a post-death thing. Although every once in a while I have some vivid dreams about like dead famous people. So like,
and I was going to say the closest I could get, and this is the second time that it's happened, but it was like the night before I found out like a celebrity that I appreciate a lot, such as Betty White, died. I had dreams about like just wild dreams. Same thing happened with David Bowie. Like the night before when I went to sleep, before I found out the next day that David Bowie died. Same thing right now with Betty White. I like had a hard time sleeping, and I had like a bunch of nightmares, vivid nightmares that I woke up and remembering because I usually don't remember what I dream about when I sleep because I have all kinds of sleep issues.
I had like a really vivid dream about Henry VIII. He did not fare well.
I don't think that the people in my dreams correspond to actual humans too often.
Mm-hmm. I do that too. Like I remember in like high school, I used to have a lot of dreams about like Batman. Just Batman was in the dream. I don't know why. I'm not even that much of a fan of Batman, but there's Batman everywhere I freaking turn.
I don't even mean that. I mean, like, these are characters who exist in the fiction of the dream and nowhere else.
Oh, that's always like a thing that like I think about is when you're sleeping and when you're dreaming and there's people in your dream that you don't know in real life. Like, where did your brain come up with this human? Where were the features of this character hiding? And where did
NPCs?
Yeah, where did the NPCs come from?
That's all.
I
They're
mean,
just NPCs. Don't worry about it.
Take the number of milliseconds it's been since you've gone to sleep and use that as a random seed run through your fusiform gyrus to get an arbitrary face.
You just broke my brain.
Everything's just an AI. It's fine.
I heard seed and immediately thought Minecraft, so I'm gone.
I mean, that is the kind of seed I'm talking about.
Just a sea of Steves.
Let's see. How has death changed the way that you live your life?
I mean,
that's hard.
I wear a mask when I go out now.
Yeah, right.
It's more a matter of like I'm trying to prevent other people from dying and also myself.
I mean, I think it can't be your own death that we're talking about affecting the way that you live your life. Like, it's got to be the fact that other people have died.
Right. What about my ego death? Can it be my ego death that has affected the way I live my life?
Has it?
No.
So, and it's like weirdly for me, other than like animals, I haven't really had like any close friends or relatives die. Like I've had people, pass, obviously people pass that I know anyway. But my grandmothers decided to go out with a bang like 2 weeks away from each other. So that ruined my holidays for quite a while. My maternal grandmother passed on December the 15th, and my paternal grandmother died on January the 2nd. So that was just so that took a number of years, and it changed all of the holidays. Everything from Thanksgiving through New Year's was for the entire family too, was just completely changed because of that, because the two matriarchs were just gone, and like, now what do we do? And I'm like, we can do whatever we want to. It's gonna be okay. So yeah, it took a while. It's a team effort.
Dark.
Oh no.
Yeah. It's one of those things where like I've never, looked at somebody who's died and been like, oh, they did this thing and now I should do that thing in remembrance, or like,
yes,
keep them with me. Like, that's just not the kind of person I am. Sentimentality, me, never. So it's one of those things where like I don't know that the concept of death or like experiencing death has really changed anything significant in how I live my life.
I mean, like, I made a TikTok about grief that covers my thoughts on this pretty well.
Yeah, true.
I could play that for you if y'all want.
Right, which if you haven't seen it, absolutely worth seeing. Go look at it.
Do you want me to
it's like, yeah, my cat was the only one. Like, I lost him almost a year ago now, and I still can't call these two baby. I still can't. That's a big thing for me. I've called every cat and dog I've ever owned baby, and I still can't do it since he died.
TX, if you have the video on deck, I think you should play it.
Yeah, I'm ready.
appropriate to grieve. Yesterday I did a live with Not Jennifer Garner. We talked about friendship breakups and grief, and the idea that people don't feel permitted to grieve certain kinds of loss in their lives, like the loss of a friendship. And I think it can really help to have an idea of what it is we're grieving, or what the thing we do is that we describe with the word grief. So this is Working Definitions episode 3, grief. There's a popular philosophical idea that each individual person is an identity unto themselves, that who and what we are is something we carry with us regardless of the environment or circumstances we're in. And that's wrong. The truth is we externalize parts of ourselves into the people and things around us. For example, you might externalize some of the way that you communicate who you are to other people into your wardrobe, or you could externalize your recollection of the content of important conversations into your email. And we externalize huge parts of ourselves into our loved ones. In a close partnership like a marriage, things like remembering birthdays, knowing how the router works, or making sure the bills get paid on time can be externalized into one partner or another, by which manner they become part of each other's selves, because all of the participants become people who are able to do that thing collectively, because they all rely on the person in the relationship who does those things doing them for them as well. But the same is true for less closely intertwined relationships. Maybe it's just going to a particular place to visit once a year, or remembering the old stories about you that you tend to forget, or being really good at getting you gifts you wouldn't have thought of. Whatever the case is, when you externalize parts of yourself into another person, and then they die, or leave, or change in a way that means they no longer fulfill that function, that's like brain damage. It's part of you dying. And it's not just true of people. When you move to a new house and suddenly don't know where everything in your house is, or if you lose your favorite jacket and stop knowing how to make yourself feel comfortable being seen out of the house, or you're forced to get your hair done in a conventional cut and dyed a traditional color and now you have to tell people that you're queer. Grief is the process of identifying the parts of you that are lost when someone or something that was a part of you is gone, and figuring out how to rebuild those parts of yourself, or go on without them. Often what that means is starting to do things in the way that your past loved ones did, because it's how you know how to do them, but also because it feels a bit like they keep that person alive. It can mean taking better care of yourself because they took care of you, and valuing the well-being of a person whose well-being they valued as a way to honor their memory. Let me know in the comments, if you want to, what kind of things you carry forward from the people who were once a part of you.
That's like still one of my favorite videos that you've done.
Thank you.
It's just, yeah, it's really good.
A lot of people forget about that kind of stuff too, which again, like right now, because death, I was again so physically attached to the idea of the physical death. I do also often forget about like emotional death or just like relationship death, because that's it. I do often say when I find out that somebody's broke up, I say sorry for the loss of your relationship, because again, it's so hard, and I've been through this too. They're right there. They're right there. And I definitely cannot talk to them about it anymore. It's like they're dead. It's very difficult. And like I emotionally bond to like freaking everybody. So it's like, if I can't talk to them anymore, it doesn't matter what the reason is. I'm just, somebody send me chocolate and roses. Okay, just do it.
Oh man.
Ginger, I love this story. My best friend always says that one particular roommate came into her life specifically to give her a vinaigrette recipe and then fuck off.
That's like the most that makes me think of the whole Wicked thing, that one song. People come into your life for a reason and then they leave.
So I have one person like that too. Because, okay, so being neurodivergent in a sea of people who do not understand my entire life, my mother still mocks me on occasion for having said that I could not leave the house yet because I did not have my brush. I hadn't brushed my hair yet. I'm not ready to leave. Sucks that you're ready to leave right now. Clearly, you're not going to give me an extra 5 minutes. I can't explain that to you in a millisecond. I'm not ready to leave until I grab my brush, right? Like, that's the whole story, right? I had another friend in college who was more like a friend of a friend. And like, we hung out for like a month straight. And then I never heard from this person again. But the thing that he said is that, I like carrots. Do you want to go ice skating? Which I don't remember the context of the story that brought those two things together. But I was just like, oh my God. It's okay. Like there is a story from here to there, and I don't need to know what it is. Thank you, person whose name I don't remember.
Oh man. Here, here's an easy true or false. Nails and hair continue to grow after death. True.
False.
False.
It is in fact false. Do you know what actually happens?
Dehydration.
Shrinks.
It is an illusion from shrinking skin, which thinking about that too hard grosses me out. I'm gonna be honest. There's not a lot in this world that freaks me out as a human who collects teeth that aren't mine.
Right.
That is one of them.
To be fair, most of the things you collect are aggressively freed of their skin.
This is true. Like, they're outside bones. There's no skin on them.
Right. I know, right? Like, oh gosh, I don't even remember who it was anymore, but somebody was like, all of your bones are wet.
Mm-hmm.
Not if I open my mouth and I like don't lick my teeth for a good 5 minutes.
I mean, they're still wet on the inside.
Yeah, like the first time though, I was just kind of like, yeah, no, I'm just a little bit uncomfy with that because every bone I've ever touched is dry, but none of them are mine. And yeah, I don't.
I mean, have you ever touched your teeth?
Yeah.
Those bones
I
are
wasn't thinking about that.
Those are your bones. Them's your outside bones.
Yeah. Saying to somebody, did you know that all of your bones are wet? And them going, oh no, and running back to their apartment to check.
God.
That's a me move. That's something I would do. You're like, who put my bones in water? I have a friend who, anytime she complains to me about brushing her teeth, my usual response is, if you don't take care of your outside bones, I will. And she's fully aware that the context there is that I will steal her teeth in the night. It will be mine.
I've thought of another terrible response to all of your bones are wet.
Well,
how did you know I have bones?
just imply like, how did you know? Why are you looking in my bathtub?
Yeah, right. It's one of those thoughts where it's like most people don't really think about like, yes, I have bones, because they're thinking about externally.
Yeah, no, I really like the idea of telling somebody that and them having other bones that their mind jumps to before they get to, oh yeah, bones inside me.
Right. Which, like, I mean, I do have enough.
Because I think the way that you get there is not so much like you don't hear your bones are wet and think, ah, yes, the bones inside me. You hear, I don't have any bones. Oh, wait, that was a dumb sentence. I have bones in me. Oh, yeah, they are wet.
Like,
so I think if you said that to somebody who does have bones at home, they wouldn't get to the, oh, yeah, the bones inside me.
You're not wrong, because my first thought would be like, oh no, my collection is in trouble. Like, who's looking at my bag of teeth? When I tell people I kept my wisdom teeth when they took them out, but I can't identify them anymore because they're in a bag with other people's teeth, and I don't know whose is whose. The Bob is in trouble. That's some serial killer responses.
I was thinking, your bones are wet. Oh, really? Yeah. No, that's surprising to me because riverbeds are famously dry.
Yeah. Your bones are wet. Well, I would hope so.
Yeah.
If not, we really got to address this global warming thing.
Right.
Oh, man. Is there an item that you treasure that was given to you by someone who has died? I have one, but it's the stupidest thing.
I have items from family members who have died. I wouldn't say that I treasure them, but I do enjoy them. Like, if that makes sense.
The amount of time it has taken me to try and remember whether I own anything that somebody who died has owned demonstrates that I don't treasure those things.
So I have two things. One of them makes sense and is normal, and the other one is interesting. So the first one is my great aunt, who I liked better than her sister. When she passed away, so she had given me this necklace that she wore every fucking day of her life for my bat mitzvah. So when she passed away, like that was a big thing. Especially because she apparently didn't tell her daughter that she gave it to me.
Oh.
So when they were going through, they were like, someone stole, and I'm like, no one stole it. She just didn't give it to you.
Yeah.
So that's a thing. And I'm a petty bitch, so extra thing. The other one is my grandfather, about 6 months before he died, gave me it's like a human hand, but it's remote control, like thing.
Okay.
Because when I was really little, we used to stick it underneath the couch cushions and wait for people to sit on it and then make it move and freak them out.
Okay, so like a plastic hand.
Yeah, like a remote control.
Micah, like, you must understand that when you say a human hand, we assume you mean like an actual hand that once belonged to a human.
That's fair. That's fair.
I'm like thinking Harry Potter and what was it? Like the Hand of Glory or whatever, you put the candle in the person's hand.
Oh yeah. No. I don't have a monkey's paw type situation.
Right.
No, it was it was like an animatronic severed hand. Because he used to own a joke gag shop. And I got that about 6 months before he died. And that's my favorite thing. And I will always keep fresh batteries in it. Here we go. Yes, did it belong to a human? Also, yes. Things that you would probably not be surprised to ever hear me say.
Belonged was not the word I wanted there. I wanted attached to.
Right.
Right. Have you ever experienced anything supernatural or otherworldly? And do you believe in ghosts?
Can I say yes to one and no to two?
Yes, you absolutely can. Because
I was going to say, same.
I am very Dana Scully about it all. I want to believe.
I mean, my actual answer to this is if it actually happens, then it's not supernatural, it's natural. If there is a spiritual world that exists, it is a naturally occurring spiritual world, not supernatural. I feel like
the most pedantic thing you've ever said. How dare you?
There is an inherent... It is inherently delegitimizing to the idea of a spiritual world to say that it is not natural, because generally what we mean in that sense is it is not observable by Western science.
So I've always taken the working definition of supernatural to not mean that it's not natural. It means it's natural, but we don't have an explanation for it. It's naturally occurring because it is supernatural.
Like the original meaning of supernatural and not like sci-fi supernatural.
Yeah. It's more so that it is a thing that occurs that we cannot explain and maybe don't even know how to approach in order to start explaining.
Right, but like the word supernatural, like super means above natural. Like the context in which that construction is used in general, like super means like outside of.
Does it though? Because for most, it means in common language and the way it's used is often to mean advanced, more than.
Yeah.
Not like, outside of.
I mean, it means distinguished from. Like.
But like, for instance, superhuman. It is not that they aren't human; it's that they are human plus. They are human with extra abilities. But having those abilities doesn't mean that they are not human.
I take your point. I don't know that that was the original usage of superhuman.
But I mean, either way,
because I am who I am. Supernatural was apparently used as far as far back as early 15C, of or given by God, above or beyond natural, divine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I feel better.
That would be around the same time when natural very specifically was most frequently used to refer to like the natural sciences, as in the stuff we can do science about.
Mm-hmm. I would argue that that's still. I would argue that the reverse of that almost is iffy, because the idea that the idea of divinity is so diverse, and in many cultures and structures, the world and sentence is part of the divine. But
right, you might go so far to say that distinguishing natural and supernatural necessarily alienates things from like the legitimacy lent to the explicable in Western frameworks.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, which is the point I was making.
Listen, I don't like being wrong, and I don't like it when other people are smarter than me. And you tend to do both of those things a lot.
I'm not smarter than you. I just studied nerdier shit than you.
We want to talk about, what was it? That thing that I was like, what do you mean it's above the thing that doesn't exist? Anyway.
Oh, pataphysics?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it's very difficult to explain pataphysics. It was a field of philosophy invented as a joke to make fun of scientists.
Yeah. You like explained it to me, and it has made me upset every day since. Like, there is at least 2 minutes a day where I remember that that's a thing, and I get mad about it. As far as experiencing supernatural phenomena, I have a history of visiting reportedly haunted places for funsies at night when I shouldn't be there. So if I've experienced it, I've never recorded anything. But I'm a firm believer that, like, a lot of times when people say they've experienced supernatural phenomena, it's because they've, like, pushed their brain to believe that they have, more so than, like, actually having experienced something. Like, oh, there's a cold spot. Cool. Did you check to see if there's a draft? Probably not.
Right? Yeah, like I'm sitting in my apartment, and like all of a sudden I feel like a cold spot. I'm like, oh wait, no, the fan turned on, and I just sit here because I've got my awesome noise canceling headphones on.
Yeah, I just remember I like took a friend to the haunted burial ground by my parents' house. Hey, I grew up with a haunted burial ground, and he was like holding a candle and telling me that his back was cold, but just his back. And I'm standing there like, yeah, buddy, because you're holding a source of heat literally this far from your face. Of course your back is cold. It's October, like, 29th, you ding-dong. Like,
oh, logic. Nah.
Like, believe what you gotta believe, but also, like, realistic explanations exist.
I like that one, too, that Ginger's is talking about. Have you read about the guy who was convinced he had a ghost, and it turned out to be carbon monoxide poisoning?
Honestly, that is like a real fear of mine.
Mm-hmm.
Is that, like, I'll lead. Wait, cold spot? Can't be.
My intuitive understanding of thermodynamics is complete and flawless. This must be magic.
That makes me laugh so hard, too, because right now I can imagine that in a tech talk with somebody being like me, an empath.
I was literally just thinking
intuitively understanding
me standing there. When I landed on Empath Slander TikTok, I was so happy. Like, there were a couple of them that I was like, can you not? Like, there's other things that you can make this joke with. But, like, overall, I was like, this is beautiful. And I love everything about it. It's fine.
And I think, oh God.
That's... All right, Ginger, you have to like actually put that into the Barefoot Contessa meme. Like,
so
you have to.
That is so good.
I would buy that sticker.
Mm.
Oh my God.
I love those jokes with the, store-bought is fun.
Yep. Oh man.
Oh boy. God, I've had such a long day. I really needed that. Thank you. Oh.
Do you know what the literal translation, or sorry, do you know what the common translation for stiffness of death is?
Rigor mortis?
Yes. Yeah. Sure is. Ugh, I have like so many of the words, Micah. Use your words.
Yeah, it's very Monday.
Alphabet soup.
Yes.
Multiple choice. That's what I wanted.
But
I don't want to do those because they're not as fun. Oh, I think we might have done this one before, but we can do it again. If you could come back as a ghost, who would you haunt? TX, you're not allowed to haunt your oh my God. I lost it again. The person you visited recently.
Nemesis?
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes. The word I was looking for was nemesis. My brain was like, this word does not exist.
What is entailed in haunting? What do I get to do with it?
I think that's up to your interpretation. Like, when you hear the word haunting, what do you conjure up in your mind?
Physical apparition, movement of objects, ideally the ability to inflict physical violence, noises, hearing things, general sense of unease. I would ideally like the full poltergeist suite.
Yes. I think that's granted. I think that is fair, and I approve.
Am I required to commit to a single target until their death?
It doesn't limit it to a single human, so I would argue that you could change targets if you wanted.
Yeah. Then I would just make a routine of, like, on a cycle going through all of the members of the super rich and Christmas caroling them.
Oh my God.
See, and that's where mine goes too, because like I do not have a vendetta against like an individual person or like group of people in my life, or like, but it's that kind of stuff. Like I want social justice for like everyone going forward. Like,
you guys are better people than me. My immediate reaction isn't even to haunt bad people or like people I don't like. I would specifically fuck with my friends. Like, I have a friend who does not like butterflies because she has a fear of things flying at her face in general. And I would just be that asshole who like leaves.
I actually have a friend I have a friend who is an incredible poet, and literally last night they read me a couple of poems they've written about they had written a poem and then they read me a couple of poems that they've read that are all about how badly they missed someone they've lost and how much they wish they were haunting them. So I think I would have to go and haunt my friend for a bit, just
That's
to
fair.
let him know that I
It's
care.
possible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but like that would be on rotation. I think maybe in between billionaires, I would go and spend time with friends who want to be haunted.
Yeah.
I would probably haunt my brother for a little bit, but like in annoying ways, like moving things over like a half inch. The same way that I would piss him off in real life. I would just keep.
I'm sorry. That episode from Community where they were like, let's move the stapler by half an inch. No, wait. We're going to move the entire desk and leave the stapler exactly.
Like that would be my MO. It's just like do shit that I know pisses off my friends, but like they can't retaliate because I'm dead.
Yeah, and then for vacation, I go and like haunt a wood somewhere,
Yeah.
or a bog, and every October I put in a few weeks haunting a spirit Halloween.
Or like that one that went viral with that bell out in the middle of the woods.
I love the idea of haunting a spirit Halloween. That is absolutely choice. Because I would also like if I had the auditory like spooky noises, it would be I am the ghost of the Victoria's Secret or whatever building it.
I have one that keeps popping up in a form of Walgreens.
I could be the ghost of Walgreens.
You just like
Get your flu shot.
I wonder if I don't know if poltergeist powers extend this far, but I wonder if I could like
They do
give
now.
mild physical illnesses to like every white person who comes to a spirit Halloween and buys an ethnic costume.
You could probably
I love that.
If somebody has like an illness, you could probably metaphysically move whatever they've coughed into and then throw it at a person who deserves it.
Oh yeah, just like find the places where people have coughed. Just keep that air circulating in a bubble near the ceiling, and then bring it down on the people, on the racists who are planning bad Halloween costumes.
Yo, that just listen. If you were an airbender, do you think that's a thing you could do? Like in the Avatar universe?
Sneeze bending.
Yeah.
Yeah, that feels like the
God.
airbender version of blood bending.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's just,
Instead of bodily control, it's like manipulation of pathogens.
listen, I'm just saying, I'm not against this idea as headcanon.
That's a lot.
But does it exist? It does?
I don't remember
They're
that.
like in the show.
Because like I don't remember seeing that in Avatar: The Last Airbender.
I haven't watched it in so long. And I still haven't watched Legend of Korra. Please don't judge me.
So I've only seen a couple episodes of Legend of Korra. Eventually I'll sit down and watch it all, but like I haven't gotten there yet. Okay, goodbye.
Not sure about the infection stuff, but there was airbending with sneezes. Okay, yeah, I know that Milo in Korra like sneezes with airbender force, but
Well, in that case, you absolutely could airbend a sneeze.
yeah, no, I definitely I think that you can airbending a sneeze is like without question a thing you can do. The question is, could an airbender manipulate the air that contains pathogenic particles with such precision that they could deliberately cause illness in people?
I mean, I'm gonna say yes, right? Because like to me, it just makes sense that you could. Because
Yeah.
you could probably once you get the air inside of the other person with the pathogens, you could probably disperse the air in such a way that all of those pathogens end up directly in the mucous membrane.
Mm-hmm.
After that, it's a matter of like how strong is that person's immune system. But like,
Yeah.
up until that point, I think airbending sickness into someone is absolutely plausible.
Yeah,
Like-
so you could have just like this awful airbender who's got just a bunch of bottles on them full of like viral samples. And they can like uncork them and then airbend.
Whoa! My roommate just made a real good point. So you need an airbender and a bloodbender to be friends, because once you've dispersed it into the mucous membrane with the airbending, the bloodbender can do whatever the fuck they do to help lower the immune response.
Okay, can we find a justification for airbenders being in control of all 4 humors? Because we've got sanguine and phlegmatic.
I mean, with enough retconning, probably.
I think that like an earthbender could manipulate black bile.
Probably, actually. Yeah.
And then what's the other one?
Now I gotta look up the 4 humors. Hang on.
I'll add my 2 cents to say that there's, unless you can supercharge it with a blood bending situation like that, like there is a point of diminishing returns.
Thank you,
For-
Emerald Worm. The last one is yellow bile.
It's yellow bile is the other one.
I think that firebenders controlling yellow bile, I think, is the biggest stretch.
Yeah. Because that's hot and dry.
Well, because it's like acid,
Yeah.
which does a type of burning, but I think is.
I mean, in theory, they could like create yellow bile.
Yeah, and could you like manipulate the heat of the chemical reaction happening in order to upset someone's stomach?
I mean, maybe. I would argue that's probably still a waterbender thing, though. Just because liquids.
I mean, liquid, yeah, but like if you're not manipulating the liquid, if you're manipulating the ambient heat in the space.
Oh. Maybe. Yeah, actually, no, that makes sense because realistically, firebenders are just manipulating heat because that's how you get lightning bending because it's just the superheating. So yeah, I would argue that you can in fact manipulate the 4 humors with oh god.
Yeah, the master of all body fluids.
Oh no, season 3 is going to be real weird. Or sorry, book 3, real weird.
Yeah. The next Avatar is going to be an Earthbender. So
Black
Avatar
Bile.
Series 3, shitbending.
Shit. Well, there we go.
I mean, I feel like that would make a good fanfic. Just like Avatar Series 3 full of shit.
Well,
I don't know if you've read the Dresden Files, but one of the books does start with monkeys flinging poo. That's
I've
on
read a
fire
couple of
and
them.
purple.
I think I've read that one.
Oh, it's the best book.
I like that when you put them all together, you've basically just created a horseman of the apocalypse. Like all you've done is create pestilence, really. Or plague. Hi. My cat is demanding, but so we are at the hour mark, a little bit past.
Thanks everyone for coming.
Thanks everybody for coming.
Thank you.
If you'd like to support the work that we do and help us to be able to pay other people to come on stream and be entertaining as well as informative, you can join us on our Discord, and you can also support us on our Patreon, which has many levels of support.
And actually, there's pretty much only one level of support because we don't have different benefits. Like the Patreon donation is just like donation. It's not like you don't get any special privileges for being in the Patreon. We have tiers. We have tiers that are recommended donations based on your income.
Yes. But I will give you a mental high five if you do support us monetarily. You won't know what happened, but I promise it did.
Thanks everybody for coming. We are going to sign off. Ginger, please post that in chat on the Discord. Bye.